Good morning. Happy Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday, Friday, Friday. I'm happy. Not that I'm not already happy when it's not Friday, but it's just a good day, right? We got a tiny dusting of snow here. It's going to be cold this weekend, but that's okay because it's going to warm up after 2 days, so I can handle it. And let me know in the comments why you're excited it's Friday. If you are too, let me know if you have a fun activity you're doing this weekend. We are hopefully getting a new oven. So that would be really nice because then I can make treats again because our oven's not been working super great. It's been a little finicky. So anyway, I digress. My name is Andrea Oram. Welcome if you are new around here. If you are an oldie but a goodie, if you have watched a long time, say hi in the comments. I'd love to connect with you and say hello back. So I teach homeschoolers pre-K through 12. I teach a lot of choirs. I teach homeschool, like early childhood classes. I teach voice lessons, piano, ukulele lessons, all sorts of stuff. And I mentor new music teachers, and it's so much fun. So let's get started with our topic for today. Today's topic is my students are struggling to stay together or keep a steady beat. Help! So we're going to address that. All right. And this could be in reference to a class, like elementary class. They can't keep a steady beat when they're playing instruments together. This could apply to singing together if the tempo is changing, or even if the tempo is not changing. Let's be real. Kids can sometimes have a hard time staying together, even if they're watching you and you're conducting them. So here's a few tips and tricks that I've used throughout the years to help improve their steady beat keeping skills and help them stay together. So, number one, especially with little kids, but you can do this with your choirs too, practice just focusing on keeping a steady beat. And you can start this. I usually do it with little kids all the time, but I even do this once in a while with my choirs if they're struggling. To play a piece of music, it could be classical music, it could be something they like to listen to, like rock music or funky music, whatever has a strong, steady pulse. For little kids, try and keep it in a specific window. Keep it at a slightly faster tempo. Don't pick a really slow tempo song because they will struggle. Little kids will. Don't pick it too fast either because their body movements, especially if it's gross motor, can't go that fast, right? But I want you to play the music, have them follow the leader basically, and you keep a steady beat on your body in different places. And keep it in that spot for a while if they're little kids and can't follow you super well. But when they're older kids, you could start a canon. So you do 4 beats of a pattern like this, or 8 beats of a pattern, whatever you decide. And then they do that pattern while you're doing the new pattern. And so you can create a movement canon, which helps them with focusing on watching and paying attention, which is a good for a precursor to conducting. But then it also helps set them up for that steady beat keeping. So let me know if that makes sense. I can do more clarification in, do it again or show you what I mean if you would find that useful. But I think that probably made enough sense for some of you music teachery types. And then that's one thing I do. Another thing I do is a game called Pass the Beat around the room. So they stand in a circle. Each student says one syllable of a word. And you start really slow. So this is more of an older student, middle and high school student, or older elementary, I guess. 4th and 5th grade could do this just fine too. But below that, I've noticed that some of my students struggle. So just something to think about. You could start with an instrument keeping a beat. You could play like a tone block or something that keeps a really steady pulse for them. And what they do is they each say one word of that phrase, and then there's a silence at the end, a rest on a beat. So pass the beat around the room, pass the beat, like that. And you can go slower to start. But once they're really good at that and they can keep a steady beat, if a student says something slower or faster than the beat, then they are out and they have to try and help you be a judge on if somebody was keeping a steady pulse. If you have kids that can't handle being out, just make another circle once there's a couple kids, and they have a winner circle and a loser's circle, I guess you could call it. I don't know. You could just call it different things, but then you could have 2 circles going. and try and keep the same tempo, and they'll say the same words maybe, but it's harder to keep that going. So if your kids don't need it, you don't have to do it. But what's fun is once they are good at it, on the steady rest at the end, they can choose which direction the circle goes. So they can choose to keep going clockwise if you're going clockwise, or they can go like this and turn the direction to go counterclockwise, and they have to go back to the people that already spoke. So that can kind of throw a wrench in the challenge. And my high schoolers actually really like playing with the ability to switch directions. So that's kind of a fun game. It also helps them stay, again, focus on steady beats and keeping that in the context of a group. So they're kind of working together while also being responsible as an individual. All right. My third idea for you is a conducting activity where they do a warm-up they're really familiar with, and they watch you. So you start at a pretty steady tempo, and then they watch for you to change the tempo and see if they can stay together. Now, part of the reason doing some of those movement cannons, like I talked about earlier, is really useful is because it gets them watching you. It gets them really paying attention to the movements you're doing, and that's a really great precursor to conducting. So you can show them, and you can even explain it to them if conducting is kind of new to them, if they're a newer group of singers and they're just not super used to watching somebody conduct and what it looks like, what it means for them, what different movements entail, then you can kind of walk them through that, but then teach them with something they know super well and kind of make it into a game where you speed up suddenly, but then you keep that sped up tempo, or you slow down suddenly and keep that slowed down tempo and see what happens. I also sometimes, this is my last tip I just thought of, you can use a little paddle, one side, or a little sign. One side says sing, the other side says inside, and you can conduct a song or a warm-up while using this paddle. So you could have a student use the paddle, you could conduct with one hand and hold the paddle with the other. But on the side, when they see the side that says sing, they sing whatever you're working on. If you flip it to the word inside, they have to sing inside their head. And when you flip it back to sing, they have to try and start together. So that means that they're singing at the tempo that they're watching you conduct, and then coming in at the same, hopefully all together on the same syllable or the same word as when they were singing in their head before and they stopped. Does that make sense? Maybe I'll have to try and get a video of my kids doing this. Maybe that would be helpful because it's really useful for them. So the first time I do that, I do not change the tempo because they're just thinking hard enough about making sure they come in together. But it's a really good exercise to increase the challenge. You can then change the tempo a little bit on the part where they're audiating or singing inside their head, and it creates kind of that extra challenge. So those are like 3 or 4, I don't know, some however many I said, tips for you for helping your students stay together in tempo or to just keep a steady beat, which is the precursor to being able to stay together in a group. But let me know in the comments which one you really want to try or which one sounds like a new favorite of yours, because these are all favorites of mine. I love doing them with different age groups, and I hope that you do too. If you really like learning about this, you can check out the Music Lover to Music Teacher group. We talk a lot about this kind of stuff, and there's lots more videos like this one where you can learn about different topics like keeping a steady beat or holding a pitch or matching pitch, staying in tune, all sorts of things like that, or engaging middle schoolers. I have some fun stuff about middle schoolers in there. So go check that out if you're new. And if you are already in the group, what are you waiting for? Go check out the guide section. All right. It's a great weekend to learn something new. So have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you tomorrow or Monday, because it's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. Okay, bye.